Hey, what's up, guys? This video is going to be a little weird, but I figured I'd do some updates on a little bit of the fish tank stuff, and yeah, I want to go for a ride today, so it's not necessarily the nicest out, but I would like to get this green bike going. I know the battery's probably dead on it, and I need to lubricate that chain really bad before we take off. But before I do that, I'm gonna go get you guys caught up on the fish tank stuff a little bit. So this is what we got going on right now. Chromuses are doing good, so I'm pretty happy about that, as we're currently, just added those guys. They've been doing all right for the last couple of days. I know it hasn't been too long since you guys have seen that, but in the Planet Aquarium, plants seem to be doing all right. That guy is a little sad, but it seems like we're making some progress. And then the 55, I still haven't done a water change on this yet. I'm planning on doing that later today, but it looks pretty decent today. So anyways, guys, let me go get some oil on a chain, and I'm going to go fill that bike up and probably get it started, and then I'll get the camera right back on. So I got the chain lubed and all that stuff. I got to jump start it because it don't start. Which is I will say this bike ain't even that old, and I will say this: every time that I park this bike, I end up having to do this. And that was even from brand new. So come on. Oh, I need the key. The key, I tell you. All right. Man, this thing has like no gas in it. Oh. Well. Yeah. Alright. What's up, guys? It's been a couple days since I got this bike started, and it is raining out. It'll probably turn to snow later, so sorry if the view isn't the best right now, but I figured I would get a video up at least. But I figured I'd tell you guys a little bit about some prior adventures that I took on a couple bikes that I probably shouldn't have taken on road trips. And what I mean by that is bikes that I priorly owned. And before I start on that, I guess I forgot how to ride a bike, because I killed this thing like 3 times trying to get it. After I jump started it and everything, I killed it a bunch. But anyways, on this nice 45-degree day and it be raining, I figured I would kind of talk about like I said, prior trips I used to that I took bikes that I probably shouldn't have taken. And what I mean by that is bikes that aren't necessarily trip bikes. I mean, they can be, but probably shouldn't take them on trips. So I had a 1993 Honda Nighthawk 250, and I picked that bike up from a guy up in Boise. The guy apparently, when I went to go purchase this, he had crashed another bike, and let's just say this: he was in the mood for selling all the bikes. Apparently he had someone turn in front of him, and it just, I don't know, he was all right. He said he didn't break anything, but
That was the main reason why he was selling it, right? Well, I had bought it for $1,500 after we had come to an agreement. It's because he wanted $2,000. I talked him down $500. I felt like it was pretty, you know, fair. But anyways, after I had talked him down from the $2,000, I decided to hop on it and ride it home from Boise. Now, which if you live in Idaho, or even in the West, mostly, you guys should know that the speed limit on the interstate is a whopping 80 miles an hour. Now, which if anybody knows about the Nighthawk 250s, they did not do 80 miles an hour. They did a whopping 75, and that was with tailwind behind you, full throttle. So I put some air in the tire, I put some fresh gas in it, and rode it home. And let's say this, it was the most terrifying experience I've ever had in my life. Because if you live in Idaho, you also know they don't do 80 as the speed limit, they're doing like 90. So I rode it home like that. And yeah. Did a carburetor clean on it, so I was only able to do like 65 with it, and it felt like it was like bogging out and not having a good time. Put a whole rebuild kit for the carburetor in it, and basically said, okay, it's good. I did an oil change, just some valve clearances, and then I decided that it'd be a really great idea if I went and saw the coast in Oregon. Oh, that doesn't sound like that bad of a trip, right? Oh, yeah, that bike will do it just fine, I said. There was some questionable things that I probably shouldn't have, you know, let's just put it this way. That bike got a little scary. And when I mean it got a little scary, I mean it got a little scary. So, I leave, and I'm driving down the road. In the first 5 minutes of me driving down the interstate, the speedo cable breaks. So I contact the local Honda dealership, and they said, hey, we have one up at the warehouse in Boise. You can grab it. I said, sure, why not? So I went up to Boise, grabbed that speedo cable, put it on, and then proceeded to fix it and go. So I'm driving, doing my 70 miles an hour, and totally just accepting that I could possibly be rear-ended at any moment. And hiding behind semis because the thing does not go very fast. And I finally hit Oregon. Oregon's speed limit 70. And I was like, okay, cool, I don't feel like I'm going to die every 2 seconds now. So I proceed to ride into Oregon, and I'm getting really close to Portland at this point, and I'm noticing that the clutch is slipping. And I mean, you guys got to remember, I'm revving this thing all the way out. Like, it is 100% revved out to the max, and full throttle, like wide open, doing 70 miles an hour. So I decided that I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm not going to go to the coast, but I'm in Portland. And realistically, what I probably should have done was actually just go to the coast. So I stayed the night at a KOA. That was most sketchy experience I've ever had at a KOA. Normally I have really good experiences at KOAs. Not that time. I'm pretty sure I was sleeping right next to people that were on meth. Because they were walking around my tent in the middle of the night. So that was a little interesting for me. And so I proceed to wake up in the morning, and I'm like, okay, I can make it home. The clutch is slipping really bad. I can still limp this thing home. Like, I'm not too far from home. Well, I get like a quarter of the way through Oregon on the way back home, and it snaps the exhaust header off. Like, it broke the studs, like the actual like exhaust studs. So I was riding it, and all of a sudden it got extremely loud. And I'm like, I wonder what happened there. I have no idea what's going on. And so I pull over and I look, and yeah, there's no bolts holding the header on at all. It's just dangling there. And I'm like, okay, I can still drive home. So it rode all the way like back home with like the exhaust barely hanging on. I had the clutch that was slipping. And then I was like, okay, there's nothing else that could go wrong, right? I mean, like, what else could possibly happen in this short, like, 300-mile jaunt? So at this point, I'm like, this thing's either going to make it home or it's going to die trying. And, yeah, it made it home just like that. Open header, clutch that was slipping. But I will say this, after I got home from that trip, I mean the failed trip, and I will say this isn't the first failed trip I've ever done. Yeah, we'll talk about the other failed trip at some point. But after I got home, I decided to go for like a cruise around, you know, area, basically. And if anybody knows anything about those Nighthawk 250 motors, they have a rubber seal behind the flywheel. Those have a dry flywheel on them. Well, that rubber seal just randomly crapped out one day while I was riding. And it left me stranded because it proceeded to dump all of the oil out of the motor. But it didn't blow up because I caught it early enough, because I went to go like move my foot on the foot peg and it was drenched in oil. So I did catch it, but I had to trailer that bike home that day. But anyways, so the lesson that I learned from that experience was, don't take an extremely underpowered motorcycle, and I mean extremely underpowered, okay? I think it makes like 17, I think it was like 17 horsepower on a good day. And this thing had like, I don't know, probably 20,000 miles on it. So, you know, I was a little, you know, tired. But also the other thing that I noticed with that bike when I owned it is that it had no hydraulic brakes. And when I mean no hydraulic brakes at all, I mean it had mechanical drum brakes. So if you need to stop in a real hurry, you better not need to stop in a real hurry, because you aren't stopping. So I always rode like really far back from all the cars in front of me in case I needed to, because I knew that bike did not stop very good. It was a fun bike. I'm not saying I didn't have fun on it. I'm just saying that I learned my lesson. Don't buy a 1993 Honda Nighthawk and expect to take it on a cross-country road trip and expect it to not do weird stuff. And honestly, yes, I know that bike was not designed to take road trips, but I'm a crazy man, and I'm like, yes, this will do perfectly. I'm a complete idiot. Let me do something completely stupid and find out the hard way. In the famous words of everybody else, ignorance is bliss. And my ignorance, yeah, almost left me stranded on the side of the road like an idiot. I mean, it really wouldn't have been that bad, because I would have just had to get a U-Haul and U-Haul the thing home. But I just thought it was funny enough to like mention this. Yeah, let me put it this way. After I got back home from that, I actually sold that bike for $1,200. I put new tires on it, and I put a new exhaust on it, and I put new chain and sprocket, and yeah, I sold it for $1,200 because I figured someone else could use it more than I could. It's a great beginner, in my opinion. Yeah, the drum brake thing is a little sketchy, but like, it's still a pretty decent beginner bike, especially for like someone that like has never ridden a motorcycle in their entire life. And technically it does have the same motor as the Honda Rebel, like the old Honda Rebel. I don't know, you guys want to look that stuff up, you can, but I really didn't have any problems with it, to be honest. I don't know. That's just me, though. I mean, I am the crazy guy riding my brand new bike in 45-degree weather while it's raining. But on another note, yeah, we'll talk about another failed trip. I'll call it a failed trip. In other words, I didn't get to go to the destination. And what I mean by, like, I didn't get to go to the destination, it's not always because of mechanical failure. So if you look on my prior, like, videos, I had a 2007 Ninja 250 that I put, like, a bunch of miles on. One of the things that prevented me from completing my trip, as I were to say it, would be the fact that I decided that the 4th of July would be a great time to go to Pikes Peak, Colorado. And I did go to Pikes Peak. There's a whole video series on it. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. But I decided that I was going to hop on my Ninja 250 and go to Pikes Peak because I thought it would be funny. I like 250s. I'm a little weird like that. Like, I don't know. I definitely I definitely push my luck a little bit on those. But anyways, so I get to Pikes Peak, or I get down to like Colorado Springs, right? And there is absolutely nowhere to stay. All the motels are rented out. There is nowhere to stay. Even the KOA was sold out. And I was like, oh, this is great. I can make this work still. And I stopped at this gas station and I met this really cool dude that was like, hey man, if you give me $5, I'll let you stay in my front yard, man. And the guy was awesome for letting me even do that. So I stayed at the gas station until like 2 in the morning. And when he got off, I followed him to his house. I pitched my tent. I woke up, and this was like right after they legalized weed in Colorado. I wake up, I put a lot more than $5 in his mailbox. But he like woke up in the morning like watching me put money in his mailbox, and he's like, oh bro, don't worry about it. I had to basically like sneak it into his pocket. And I put like $50 or whatever. I thought it was fair. Like, he let me stay. The guy was cool. And I decided that yeah, I was gonna give him a little bit of money because like, I don't know, it just felt right to me to like, cause I was gonna spend that money anyways on a motel room. Might as well pay the guy that let me stay in his yard. And but anyways, he comes out and he's hitting his bong right away in the morning, and I'm like, man, this is a wild ride. And I'm just dying at this point because I'm watching this guy hit his shit, and I'm like, what the hell? And I gave him $50, man. I don't know, that guy was awesome. I don't remember your name, but if you see this, that's cool. You probably remember me as the weird guy that rode around on a Ninja 250 that stayed in your yard. But anyways, so after I got my tent packed up and everything, I decided to go up to Pikes Peak. Well, let me put it this way, the line was 4 miles long, and I didn't make it up Pikes Peak. And I was like, okay, whatever, I'll come back later at a later day. I'm not waiting for 5 years to go on top of a mountain. So I went back there this year. I might have not completed that ride that time, but I did complete it later on. So I really don't have any, like, I don't know, it was definitely worth it. I just thought that I would share some of the failed rides. And I wouldn't say they're fails, but I definitely say that, like, every time I plan a trip, I will say this, sometimes it just doesn't go to plan. And I would just say that you can either keep pushing through or make it work, kind of thing. So you can either give up and go home like I did in Portland, because I didn't feel like having to rent a U-Haul all the way home for that. Or you can keep going, and yeah, you might not see the, like, you know, what you want to see, but I did see a bunch of cool stuff. Oh man, the Visa. But yeah, no guys, if you guys want to like see that Colorado trip, I do have it posted up already. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend you go check it out. It might be a little botchy. I think we've gotten better with the filming, I would say. So yeah, I just realized it's a little older and it might be just a hair botchy. But anyways guys, I think I'm gonna get home because I'm a little cold. Oh, but yeah, I think I'm gonna get home. I'm cold and wet, and I think I'll talk to you guys next time whenever I see ya. If it proceeds to not snow here, I'll keep trying to make videos, but like I said, it's really not up to me. I can't control the weather, so yeah, I'll see you guys next time whenever that will be. So you guys have a good one, and I really appreciate you guys commenting and liking the videos. It really helps out, so thank ya.